Welcome to video number 48 in the Using iTrain tutorial series. My name is Bob. Welcome back. Okay, so we now move on to the new subject of actions and the start of a new mini-series. Actions are a way of making things happen on our layout with very precise timing when certain other things occur. Precise timing of things that happen in automation is very important in order to keep control and to do things safely, especially when multiple things are going on at the same time all over our layout. Actions can be simple single commands or sophisticated multiple processes. In this tutorial, we will provide a basic overview of what an action is, how it operates, and we will explain some of the main terms used in actions. Then, in subsequent tutorials, we will go into more detail, building up our knowledge step by step and culminating in us reproducing a sophisticated action that Ian has kindly created for us, which will perform the traditional engine runaround maneuver. That is where a loco automatically uncouples from the front of the train, shunts around towards the rear of the train, moves forwards and then recouples to the rear of the train this time, and then starts off on a route all automatically. That is just one example of the many things that can be accomplished using actions. We will use the layout shown here to run that action. It's the same layout that we have used previously because I know quite a few of you have actually built this little layout so that you can practice on a real physical layout rather than just in simulation. So we will use the same layout but with a few tweaks which I'll explain in future tutorials. Okay, so what are actions? According to the manual, an event action, or simply an action, is a list of things that will be executed, known as the action, when something happens, known as the event or the condition. In other words, an action is a function that says if or when this thing or combination of things has just occurred, then do this. The key to keeping control in an action is a thing called an event. The manual describes an action as an event action, meaning that actions are event driven processes. An event is the precise moment that an object, such as a feedback sensor, changes from one state to another. Events provide the precise timing needed to ensure that the commands that are executed by the action occur at exactly the right time to avoid chaos on our layouts. Let's use the simple analogy of a push-button switch to demonstrate what an event is. Here we have a push-button switch, and here are the contacts of the switch. This switch has two stationary states, open or closed. They are the stable states of the switch, or in other words, its stationary state or status. It is either closed or open. Currently, the switch is shown in its open state. To change the state of the switch, we press the button which causes the contacts to close, and then we release the button which opens the contacts again. The exact point in time at which the switch closes and the exact point in time at which the switch opens is called the event. This is a timeline showing the action of the switch. The events occur here, creating the rising edge, and here, creating a falling edge. The period between these events is the status of the switch. iTrain detects these edges produced by the events and uses them to produce the precise timing needed in an action. However, that does not mean that actions only use events. As we will see in a later tutorial in this mini-series, actions also use the status of an object. Okay, good. So let's try and bring things into context by looking at an example of an action. We do that, of course, by opening the Actions editor. Listed here are actions that I previously created. In this part of the window is the action that I have selected here. We see that an action consists of three tabs: the Conditions tab, the Execution tab, and the usual Comments tab for writing any comments that we would like to save for future reference. The Condition tab is used to enter a list of subconditions which together form the complete condition. We can think of each of these subconditions as being an individual test of something. The type of subcondition is chosen from a drop-down window by clicking on the field in the type area, by double-clicking on it. The complete condition may have no subconditions, or a single subcondition, or multiple subconditions, as shown here. And when there are multiple subconditions, the tests are grouped together to form OR groups, which is the default type of group, and AND groups. Or they can be nested to allow both groups to occur. This is an example of an AND group. You see the way the tie bar has grouped these all together, and the AND operator is showing up the top here. We could make this into an OR group by clicking on this operator here and changing it to an OR. And now this group is grouped together as an OR group. An OR group simply means that only one of these tests in this group of subconditions needs to be true for that group of subconditions to be fulfilled or met. AND means that all of the tests in the group of subconditions need to be true for that group of subconditions to be fulfilled or met. We will talk more about these logical operators, ANDs and ORs, in a future tutorial, so don't worry if they don't make any sense at the moment. And again, together these subconditions form the complete condition. As soon as the condition is met, the action is triggered, which means that the list of processes or commands in this execution tab are then executed. So the condition is the when or if part of the action, and the execution is the then do this part of the action. The execution tab contains a list of the processes or commands that we want to be executed, and again we select the type of command by double clicking on this field, and here we can see the long list of the different types of commands or processes that we could use. When we select a type, we can then define what that command or process does using these boxes in the lower part of the window. For example, this command is a shunt to block. It will shunt a train called 73107 into block SP1 using the automatic driving mode. And again, down here are where those settings are selected. The commands or processes are then executed one by one in the order listed. So we create the list of tests or sub-conditions which form the condition, and we create the commands or processes that will be executed when the condition is met. And together they form the action. As soon as we press apply after creating the action, it is immediately running in the background, as shown by the active tick in these boxes here. So if things happen on our layout which mean that suddenly the condition is met, the action will be automatically executed. We do not need to do anything as such to start the action. It is immediately active and running in the background and will automatically execute when the condition is met. So that is an overview of actions. But before we finish, I just want to mention one other point for those who know a little about programming languages. We mentioned earlier that an action effectively says if or when this thing or combination of things has just occurred, then do this. So, if you're familiar with programming languages, you will recognize the if-then function contained in this sentence. Now, actions are not a programming language, but they use a process similar to the if-then routine. The point I want to emphasize is that it is not an if-then-else routine. If this thing or combination of things has just occurred, then do this, or else do this. It does not contain the or else part of the routine. And that is a trap that is easy to fall into. An action is simply an if-then routine. Okay, so to quickly summarize, actions are a way of making things happen on our layout with very precise timing when certain other things occur. They are event-based processes, meaning that things will happen when other things occur. An action essentially says if this thing or combination of things occur, then do this. In the next tutorial, we will create a simple action that turns on a light when a feedback sensor detects a train. So I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching, and before we go, please press the thumbs up button for me. It's the only reward that Ian and I get from creating these tutorials for you. So bye for now. See you in the next tutorial.